So I got another batch of books back from CGC. There's 5 books in here. Now chronologically, this is the second batch of books that I pressed and cleaned myself. So yeah, you know how the first 10 went. So I'm hoping that this next 5 will do just as well. It's so weird. I send this one in, then I send 2 separate submissions afterwards. And this one, for some reason, takes twice as long as the other 2. And the other 2 came back first. I just did videos on those. So yeah, we're going back a little bit further in time here. And we'll just see how we did. So let's get this thing unboxed and get started. So what we'll do is first we'll talk about what the grades were maybe before I cleaned and pressed them. And then what I thought maybe I was able to get the grade to before I submitted it to CGC. And then of course we'll see what CGC did and we'll discuss what and why happened, right? So let's go ahead and just get started. The first book is a really cool cover. We're coming up on Halloween, so I'm glad the timing is right for this one. And this isn't a key, but it's just a very, very cool cover. It's kind of reminiscent of Web of Spider-Man number 32. Of course, this only came out 2 years after that. But yeah, we got Spider-Man coming up out of the grave. We got Gwen Stacy, Ned Leeds all coming out of their graves as zombies. So just an awesome cover. I picked up this book for, let me see, $6. So I got a really good deal. It's not a key, like I said, but it was an ultra high grade condition. So I was like, I got to submit this thing just because I think during Halloween time, I'm going to display this book, right? So yeah, I thought it was a 9.2 before I worked on it. But I thought I was able to get it to a 9.4, maybe a 9.6. But it's a very, very nice looking book. I could see somebody potentially giving this a 9.8, but I'll be happy with 9.4, 9.6, anywhere in that range. So let's take a look. Got the 9.8. Very, very happy. I knew there was maybe an outside chance of a 9.8. I mean, this was just a gorgeous book from the get-go. It had one little defect here that I thought maybe would hold it back. It was very crinkled right here. I might have some before pictures that I'll show you if I can find them. And there's like a tiny little color break right there left over. It probably doesn't show up in the video, but that was what I thought might hold us back. I didn't know how harshly that would be graded. And other than that, there's one little spine tick right here. And it kind of blends in with the gray and everything. But yeah, very cool book. Very happy to have this in a 9.8. This is a beautiful book, and I'm holding on to this one. So the next one we got is one that has kind of seen a drop in value, but it's still a cool book. And absolutely, as you know, a lot of people love yellow covers, but I really do. I love these yellow covers. This one has all 3 on the cover as Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage all at the same time. So yeah, this was a very high grade when I got it. I got it for $15. I mean, this was back when the book was about $100 in 9.6. I don't remember what it was in 9.8, but I don't know how I got it so cheap, but I got it at an auction on eBay. Nobody else was bidding on it. I got this thing in like almost perfect condition. And one thing I saw on it was kind of a miswrap. Like if you look right there, it's a little bit narrower at the bottom. There's more white on the top. Maybe that made people not want it, but I don't mind miswraps. I think it adds character to the book, and it certainly doesn't normally hurt the grade that much. I thought it was a 9.4 when I got it, and I thought there was a very solid chance I could get it to 9.6 or 9.8. I actually don't have this in an ultra high grade yet. I have a couple copies, but I haven't gotten it in a 9.8 yet. So happy with 9.6, happy with a 9.8. Let's see what we got. Got another 9.8. So again, we're starting off on a good note here. We got our first 2 books, 9.8s. Now I expected 9.8 potential on this one and outside chance on the other. So it's not like we thought this was a 9.0 and some of our last submissions, like we thought maybe these were lower grade. You know, this one, all of these, a lot of these on the wall, we actually thought they were lower grades. But there's nothing wrong with this book at all. You know what? That corner up there is kind of bent in a little bit. It was not like that when I submitted it. The inner page is like bent in. That was done by CGC, but they still gave me the 9.8, so I guess I will not complain. So next we have, for you McFarlane fans, for you Venom fans, a book I always pick up when I'm given the opportunity, and that's Amazing Spider-Man number 315, which has the first cover appearance of Venom, which is right here. Of course, 316 is the one that everybody just has to have in their collection, which is the next book after this. But this is actually the first appearance on the cover of Venom. It's just a little guy right here, right? But this is a newsstand copy. So I've always loved this cover. I got a copy of it. I got a 9.6 already. I don't have a 9.8, but I do have a 9.6 newsstand that has like a sun shadow that I think I can probably maybe get off and maybe upgrade that one to a 9.8. So I paid a little bit more than I normally would pay for this book just because it is the newsstand. I paid about $65 for it. Normally I wouldn't pay more than $40 for this book in high grade. But this also was like 2021, so it was a little bit higher. I probably wouldn't pay that now. I think the prices have dropped just a little bit. For a newsstand, I will go outside my comfort zone because if you get a ultra high grade newsstand, it can really pay off for you as a collector. So I thought it was an 8.0 when I got it. It looked a little better online than when I received it, but a lot of it was pressable. I thought I was able to get it to a 9.0, possibly a 9.2, but it's a beautiful book regardless. I mean, 9.0 or 9.2 newsstand in this book. Somebody's going to want this book, me included. So let's go ahead and just see what CGC did on this one. Okay, we got the 9.0, which is fine. That was in that range. But this one does have quite a few ticks here that I couldn't do anything about. Some of them blend in with like the back cover, that wheel on the back cover. But they're definitely there. Couldn't do anything about. There's a major one right here. But oh yeah, you can see the back here, what I'm talking about. There's several color breaks right here. They're just going to hold it back. This just looks like a 9.0 or 9.2 to me. And I think because it's got a little bit of slight tanning, maybe a slight sun shadow, and it's got, you know, all these major ticks here. It's a 9.0 is an extremely fair grade on this book, and I finally agree with CGC on one. They've been grading me too high, I thought, but I'm a strict grader. You guys know that. So usually our grades are often higher than what we anticipate. But in this case, they pretty much nailed it in my opinion. 9.0, 9.2 is a fine grade on that book, and I am happy about that. So the next book we have is also one that I do tend to pick up. You can still get these books. Web of Spider-Man 1 with this beautiful Vess art on it. I guess there's a million of these out there, but you can still get these for, you know, 20, 30 bucks in high grade. So I usually don't pay more than 30. If it's a newsstand, I might pay 35 or something like that. I got this one for $26 on eBay, and yeah, it's just newsstand. You know, I always, if I find an ultra high grade one that I think could possibly get 9.4 or higher, especially in a newsstand, I will pick that puppy up because I think it's a good long-term investment for this book. I don't think this book is going to go down in value. It just always has been a slow riser in value. So yeah, so I paid $26. I thought it was a 7.0. So when I got it in, there were some major flaws. Maybe I saw them when I bought it, but maybe I thought they were correctable. This might be the one that had major bends all the way through it. I'll check my pictures and I'll put those on the screen here, but I'm pretty sure this is the one that had a major bend all through here, all the way through the whole book, and then all the way across here as well. I put double time in this book. I put a lot of time and effort, tack iron, press, moisture, press, tack iron, press, ball bearing press, over and over again. I pressed it probably 3 times and it was still showing. And finally I put moisture just to the right amount at the right time, left it in 24 or 48 hours, whatever, a long time, and it disappeared. Waited a week and it kind of came back a little bit. So I repeated the process. So I'm interested to see if there was more reversion, and we'll know by the grade immediately if it reverted back. So right now, let's just, without further ado, I think it's somewhere between a 9.2 and a 9.4 after I was able to do all that work on it. So let's see if it paid off and see what we came up with here. Got the 9.6, so close. Man, if we're going to get 9.6, why couldn't we just get the 9.8? But it did get off white to white pages, which is a little bit disappointing, but not at the same time, it's fine. I mean, I think I would be able to whiten this book now and take care of that and make it a white pages, but I'm not going to crack a newsstand 9.6 of this book, I don't think. I think we're just going to be happy that I was able to get all of this out of here. And yeah, I'm really, really happy. We exceeded our expectation on this already. We're not going to push our luck by sending it back and cracking this thing. I don't see any kind of reversion. So we're exceeding expectations at all but one book so far, and we hit what we wanted on that one book. So like I said, we're doing very well in these submissions, and I couldn't be happier with how things are going. So our last book here I saved for last is, we just talked about it a minute ago. We had an homage cover, I think, to this book right here, which is one of the greatest covers ever. Not just for Spider-Man, but in my opinion, this is one of the best, most well-done covers you could ever hope for right here. I mean, you just have to see this one. And if you don't have this book, you need to get a copy of this book just to see how awesome this is in person. So, yeah, it kind of reminds me almost like a Ramita feel in the background. So you can't go wrong with this one right here with Mike Zeck. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful art. So this one here I paid $39 for it. And that's a little bit on the upper end of what I would normally pay. It's probably not a huge amount of value I'm going to gain on this book, depending on what the grade is. But I still go after this book whenever I can. I just think it's got a lot of long-term potential investment value. I think isn't there a movie coming up that'll have Craven in it? Yeah, coming up soon. So maybe this book will blow up at that time. But regardless, I don't really buy it for that reason. I buy it because I love this story, first of all, and the covers in this series. What is it, a 5-book series, 4-book? I forget. It's been so long since I've actually read it. I need to go back, and I've been talking about I need to reread this series. Because I remember this was an impactful story for me when I was a kid. I just absolutely loved this run. And it ran over several different of the issues. Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, I think Spectacular Spider-Man. But don't hold me to that. I can't really remember, but it was a several-part series featuring mainly Craven in it. Also Vermin as well. So once again, I thought this was a 8.5 when I got it, and I thought I was able to get it to a 9.2 or a 9.4. So let's see if the submission, already a great submission, can end on an even higher note than we've seen so far. Got the 9.4. Okay, and there's a big tick here. And you could get that in 9.6, but it's going to hold us from 9.8 for sure. This corner's not perfect. You can see where that's blunted just slightly. Bottom as well. Corners look good. Back looks pretty good. Yeah, this corner here is what it is right here. This is why I thought we were capped at 9.4. If that corner was sharp, I would think 9.6, outside chance 9.8. But the grader got it perfectly right, I believe, on this book. This is a 9.4 through and through. I could see somebody giving it a 9.2 for that corner, but you know, with only one major tick otherwise, there's no color breaks here on the back. So this is an ultra sharp back cover except for that one thing. So yeah, grader nailed this submission, I think, all the way around. A little higher than I anticipated, but of course I am conservative, so that's fine. So overall, once again, this is an awesome submission. This was only my second batch, you know, cleaning and pressing, so I'm just thrilled that I was able to even get this good of grades and have a little bit of validation for my work. And if you guys haven't cleaned or pressed before and you're thinking about getting into it, there is no better, more rewarding thing in this hobby that I've found so far than putting your sweat and tears and everything into a book and putting the labor in and improving the book and then having it come back with a grade you're hoping for or even better. So the whole goal here is to preserve these books, improve them, get rid of the defects that have accumulated over the year in a safe manner that doesn't actually add anything to the book. We only take things away. We don't add things to books. This is not restoration. So it's very, very cool that the modern age we can do this stuff, which would have been unheard of when I was a kid, right? A book was a book, right? If it had a tick, it had a tick forever. So it's really, really cool that we can do this now. So that's it. So once again, I was doing this thing where we would fill a slot in the wall with a book from a submission. Now, there weren't really any sentimental value, huge books in the submission. These are all awesome books, though. But if you had to choose one book of these to stick on the wall, which one would you choose? I think I'm going to replace for now, or I'll just move around, maybe the Spawn 8 and put it in a different location. But go ahead and pick a book out of here. I'm going to at least temporarily put one of these books in that slot. I think personally, in the spirit of the season, my choice is going to be this one, because a lot of people, this is kind of off the radar of a lot of people. You walk into and look at a guy's collection, you're not going to see this book that often. And I just absolutely just love this cover. So my choice is to put it right here. But you guys vote. Let me know which is your choice, and you know, for the next video, I'll go ahead and replace it in that slot and leave it there for indefinitely. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just keep doing submissions until we get like a huge win, and then we'll say, okay, I got a huge win on this book, or this is an ultra valuable book, I'm going to replace such and such a book. We'll just play it by ear. But I love rotating books around. I don't like to look at the same thing week in and week out. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.